perfect conditions, a pretty good crowd, a Saskatchewan Roughrider team that's out of it, but would very much like to finish on a winning note, and a BC Lion team that are #1 and perhaps the Western favorites for the Grey Cup. It should be a good one. My cohorts from CTV on the broadcast crew, Dale Isaac and Frank Rigney, are just about ready for the call. We'll be back when the CFL on CTV continues in a moment.
From Vancouver's BC Place, join CTV's 1983 Great.
This game brought to you by Carling O'Keefe, brewers of OV, the Carlsberg family, and Miller High Life. Carling O'Keefe Sports, your box seat to the CFL. We're bringing you more games than ever, a full interlocking schedule of exciting matchups. With new powerhouses and renewed rivalries, it's wide-open football CFL style. Catch all the action from your home box seat. Carling O'Keefe Sports, bringing the sports world home to you.
Day here in Regina, Taylor Field, with a pretty good crowd on hand, even though the Saskatchewan Roughriders are out of it and looking for 1984. The BC Lions, on the other hand, Frank, are gearing up for the playoffs. They're going to rest a couple of people today, but we're going to take a look at some new ones as well.
Dale, they're very excited about one fella. He's not exactly new this afternoon, Ray Strong. He's played 2 football games for the BC Lions. He gained 134 yards on the ground against the Hamilton Ticats last week. The only time a BC Lion back has been able to go over 100 yards this season. He's from the Atlanta Falcons, 6 years experience in the NFL, and they're looking for big things from him again this afternoon.
Roy DeWalt injured a knee slightly last week, and he will not play today. And Joe Paupaou will start. Tim Cowan is the rookie, and he'll get a chance to play some today.
Well, I'm really looking forward to Cowan. Cowan's listed to be a very intelligent quarterback that has learned a heck of a lot and developed a very, very strong arm during the course of the season. As you can see, he's only thrown 1 pass so far this year, but he's going to see action throughout the entire second half of this ball game.
And Homer Jordan, of course, will be starting for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Now it's time for the national anthem.
The BC Lions and the Saskatchewan Roughriders are all set. We'll be back with the opening kickoff in just a moment.
That's the head referee, Jim Hope Ross, getting set to whistle time in. This football game just about set to get underway, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders will be kicking off to the British Columbia Lions. Beautiful afternoon for football at Taylor Field, considering it is the last Sunday in October. 15 degrees Celsius and really not much of a wind at all. Deep kick. Ridgway puts it into the end zone. Ray Strong brings it out, number 34. Right off the bat, the BC Lions will scrimmage from Saskatchewan Roughrider territory as Ray Strong, the man Frank talked about at the top of the show, returns at 57 yards.
Dale, did you see Big John Blaine at 275 pounds trying to stay in front of Ray Strong? He finally kind of gave up on that. But a tremendous return by the BC Lions to start this ball game off. Watch Big John Blaine, number 68. Go, John, go.
Jerry Friesen, number 50, got over there to bring Strong down at the Saskatchewan 54. First play from scrimmage, Joe Paupaou looks quickly to his left and completes it on the far side to the newcomer in the lineup this afternoon for the Lions. Number 72 is Gerald Bradley, playing his first game. He's out of Weber State as you look at the offensive backfield. Paupaou starting in place of Roy DeWalt, who is not dressed. He got a knee injury last week. And the inside receivers, Chapdelaine and Pankrat, starting outside Bradley. is on the roster, replacing the now departed Sammy Green, although Chapdelaine starts in Green's spot. 2nd down and 5 for the Lions, Saskatchewan 49. Sammy Green was picked up on waivers by Saskatchewan, although he's ineligible to play the rest of this year for another club. Jacques Chapdelaine takes the pass from Pow, and he has a 1st down at the Saskatchewan 41-yard line. Offensively for the BC Lions.
Certainly a veteran offensive line on the right side, and really newcomers to the BC Lions on the left, Miles and Swafford. Of course, Swafford formerly playing with these same Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Ray Strong returned the kickoff to the Saskatchewan 54. The Lions are now 1st down at the Saskatchewan 41. Just underway at Taylor Field. Penalty marker, wide open. Chapdelaine, 1st down and more. Steve Johnson, number 17, with help from Mike Emery, number 35. Stop him at the 15-yard line. As it stands, it's a gain of 27. There is a marker down. He'll bring it back.
I think we're going to have a motion call, Dale, against the BC Lions. They moved a little early, I believe.
Chapdelaine, of course, the rookie draft choice. The Lions got out of Simon Fraser, has that 27-yard gain wiped out.
One thing about the BC Lions of 1983, Dale, they have not been a very penalized football club. That was one of Don Matthews' objectives when he came over from the Edmonton Eskimos, to teach his ball club to be efficient and not take those penalties, particularly at the wrong times, and he's done a good job at it.
Don Matthews, rookie head coach, of course, with the Lions already having 1st place locked up, and they'll host the Western Final November 20th. 1st down again for the Lions. The ball back at the Saskatchewan 46. Cowpaw with all kinds of time. Wide open with Fernandez, and I think Frank Robinson, the linebacker number 37, may have got a hand on it. They can't allow Pow to have that much time to throw the football.
Well, I think it's pretty fair to say, Dale, that the Lions did not come out here to try and establish any sort of running attack. That's been their mode of operation all year long. They want to throw that football, and they've done it every play so far. Robinson definitely got his hand on the football. He's been a great linebacker in his 2 or 3 seasons with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Very active back there. Number 37.
You may find next year, Frank, that Robinson moves as an outside linebacker instead of playing inside. We've already talked about that possibility. Another flag down as Pow tries to go deep for Bradley. Johnson is there to break the play up. Crowd hollers for some contact on behalf of Bradley, but there is a penalty marker down. Looks like it could be a holding call against BC.
Dale, I'll tell you what, Ray Strong, the word on him is an excellent blocker, and watch he and John Henry White just step up into the line of scrimmage and help their quarterback establish some time, as you were talking about him having a lot of time. Both of them get a good piece of the shooting linebackers. Watch them. Boom. Well, they hit people. They don't just get in their way.
The penalty is declined by Saskatchewan, brings that 3rd down. You've mentioned over the years, Frank, how much you appreciate the blocking of a guy like John Henry White. Now they've got 2 of them in there.
Well, I have admired John Henry, and I think that he's probably as fine a blocking back as there is in the Canadian Football League, or has been for an awful long time. I think Ray Strong would certainly agree with that on his performance of 134 yards gain last week. John Henry was a big reason for it.
Take a look at Louis Pasaglia, his 1st punt of the afternoon, the leading punter in the CFL this year. They're also the CFL's leading scorer. Look at that average, almost 50 yards. Big rush from Steve Johnson, but Pasaglia got it away. This is Tim Kearse, number 10, or number 1 from the 10, brings it back to the 20-yard line. 12:06 remaining in the opening quarter. A return of 11 off a 37-yard kick. There's no score. We'll be right back to Taylor Field in Regina. Dale Isaac with Frank Rigney and Al McCann, the rest of the CTV crew. A terrific afternoon at Taylor Field in Regina. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, their 1st possession of the ball game. From their own 21, Homer Jordan, the starting quarterback, number 8, the rookie out of Clemson. Looking for his fullback, Mike Washington, number 18. He takes it out to the 36-yard line, and Saskatchewan quickly moves the yardsticks, and a gain of 15 for Mike Washington. Feger lines up in that backfield beside Mike Washington, who is the number 2 rusher in the Western Division. Look at the receivers. Kearse and Johnson are newcomers to France, of course, over 1,000 yards for the 3rd straight year for Saskatchewan. All of those linemen are Canadians. Roger Aldag nominated in 2 Shenley categories. This pass for Mike Washington. He wisely gets on top of that football, and it'll be ruled a lateral, and it'll be a loss of about 7 yards for Saskatchewan.
Both of those last 2 throws, Dale, were back to Mike Washington, but he very alertly picks this football up. That ball was live. No question about him throwing it backwards.
We saw Kerry Parker jump on one like this last week for a touchdown for the Lions. 2nd down and 17. Big rush. Jordan quickly got away from the first man, throws for Chris DeFrance. He makes the catch short of the first down at the 42-yard line. The gain of 13, and that'll bring on the punting unit led by the rookie Dave Badowich. Homer Jordan heads to the sidelines.
I think that was Melvin Bird coming in on a halfback blitz that just overran Jordan. Dale, if I may, while we're going to have this punt coming up by the Riders, I'd like to make a comment on behalf of the BC Lions. They really appreciate the support that they've had during 1983, and it's been tremendous in their new facility, of course, and they're asking the public to come out and let them say thank you by meeting the players down on the field, have your picture taken with them, get autographs, whatever you'd like to do. This Thursday, November 3rd, that'll be at 4 o'clock. You'll be able to watch the team practice. And, of course, we get to meet the guys a little bit, and there's absolutely no charge for this. Just a way of the Lions saying thank you for their fan support.
Penalty goes against the BC Lions, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders will maintain possession and get a first down out of it. Get the call from Jim Hope Ross, the head referee this afternoon. Offside call against the Lions. First down Saskatchewan. They're now at the 48-yard line. Saw Badowich there preparing to punt, taking a long count. Had his first 2 punts in the CFL blocked by the Montreal Concords, but his response since then was 17 punts for a 44-yard average. Riders were going to show a little more emotion today to try and confuse the BC defense. This time the pass is short to Nate Johnson. Jordan was trying to throw it past 2 or 3 BC defenders.
Good job by Kev Konar, number 31, starting today at that outside linebacking spot. Started out the year, he was a little disappointed. Wasn't starting in that defensive slot, Dale, but he's come on so strongly in specialty teams and specialty situation defense that Kevin has broken into that starting lineup once again.
Konar, 4-year veteran out of UBC. 2nd down and 10, Saskatchewan.
Good containment.
Klassen had the pressure, number 60, up the middle, and then he was finished off from the outside by Tyrone Cruz, number 50, and it's a loss of 10, and then a big 3rd down and a punting situation for Saskatchewan.
Watch the job that the BC Lions do of containing to the outside. That's exactly the reason Homer Jordan did not have the ability to get to the outside. Stop it right there. You'll see Cruz coming from that little middle linebacking spot, and he keeps that containment to the outside. Force that quarterback back to the inside. You'll get help, and if you have to, do it yourself.
On 3rd and 18, Badowich off the side of his foot. Gets a good bounce, though, to Larry Crawford near the 10-yard line. Number 28 brings it out to about the 18. The BC Lions will start deep in their own end. 61-yard punt with a good roll. There's no score. We're coming right back to Taylor Field and Regina. Saskatchewan Roughrider defensive coach Jerry Hart on the sidelines. It's Dave Singh, number 22, the rookie out of UBC. And head coach Don Matthews of the BC Lions as his offense now goes to work from the BC 19-yard line. There's no score. A little over 9 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. This is John Henry White on the draw. Nowhere to go. Rusty Olson was there first, and Al Johns finished him off, help from others. The loss in the play of about 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah, we have word in other CFL action today. The Calgary Stampeders leading the Hamilton Ticats by 5 points at halftime. A very important game, of course, for the Stampeders in their quest for that 3rd and final playoff spot in the Western Division.
It's 2nd down and 14 yards to go for the Lions. Now back at their own 15.
4 receivers to the right side.
Fakes to John Henry White in the middle, and there's nobody there for the screen. I'm not sure if it was White or Strong he was trying to get the ball to, Frank, but they got caught up in traffic, and it brings up third down.
I'll tell you, it looked like John Henry White he was trying to screen to, but a very dangerous pass because nobody was open on a lot of Saskatchewan Roughrider green jerseys around that football. Joe has had a problem with interceptions throughout his career. He's thrown 8 this year compared to 2 touchdown passes.
You know, Dale, they may say that Rider Pride's a bit deflated with the way the season has gone for Coach Barry's team, but I'm just amazed. A tremendous turnout here at Taylor Field this afternoon, despite the fact that Saskatchewan's out of it.
Well, they anticipated a crowd, Al, I think around 25,000. That certainly speaks well for Saskatchewan football fans. They do love the sport here as Fran McDermott takes Louis Pasaglia's punt on the run and heads right out of bounds with it at the BC bench. So Saskatchewan will take over in Lion territory with 8 minutes remaining in the opening quarter.
Bill, things are not going well for Louis Pasaglia so far in his first couple of kicks. He, of course, is trying to become the first punter in CFL history, in fact, in professional football history, to average 50 yards or more during the course of the season. He came into last week's ball game at 50.1. He is now 49.8 coming into today's ball game, but that has not certainly improved so far.
Last one traveling just 36 yards. Saskatchewan first down, BC 46. Beager in motion along with France. Homer Jordan has drawn to Mike Washington. He's got trouble with the loose football. Washington does a heck of a job of turning this into a first down. Incredible run by Mike Washington when he probably should have lost about 10 yards on the play. They give him a gain of 11.
Very heads-up play by Washington after looking like he was going to be thrown for a 7 or 8 yard loss. Mac Moore trying to chase him to the outside. Actually, a good block on Glenn Jackson allowed Washington to get around the outside. But he very alertly not only recovered his own fumble, but did something with it.
Sure did. First down, Saskatchewan at the BC 36. Washington again. Blockers in front of him. So he's brought down by Rick Klassen, number 60, after a gain of just a couple on the play. He's second down and long for Saskatchewan at the BC 33.
Gain of 3, it'll be second down and 7 on the 33.
Saskatchewan Roughriders have now picked up 3 first downs, and BC just 1. Minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Jordan, lots of time, throws it right to Kevin Konar. It's picked off, and that will tie a CFL record for interceptions in a year by a team. The BC Lions have now picked off 40 passes in 1983, tying the record set by the Ottawa Roughriders back in 1972.
We were talking about Kev Konar's ability to get back in those drop zones. He's a very maneuverable type of linebacker. Number 31, an easy interception for Konar on this particular play, his second of the season.
It's Hamilton 7, Calgary 1.
6.5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. The BC Lions have the football back at their own 22-yard line, having tied a long-standing CFL interception record with number 40. Pow sends Mervyn Fernandez, number 24, wide to the left side. Gerald Bradley, the newcomer, number 72, out of Weber State, flanked to the right side. Pow going deep down the middle for Chapdelaine and knocked away by Steve Johnson. Penalty flag comes down. Johnson's going to be charged with interference.
Well, of course, you're getting quite a bit of negative comment from the fans here at Taylor Field, but Steve Johnson, number 17, really did not complain very bitterly when that flag went down, Dale.
First down, BC, and the ball now at the Lions 47.
Well, Johnson, number 17, right behind Chapdelaine. Oh, it looked like he did have his left arm on the young receiver of the BC Lions. First down. With 6 minutes remaining now in the first quarter.
Fernandez coming back to the ball, makes a great catch after it was tipped by Robinson again, I think.
Yes, it was. Frank Robinson tipped it with his left hand. And Merv just made a great grab, getting his left hand out there and tipping the ball back toward himself. Watch it. Great job.
Very close to a first down. They're going to have to measure it. I was talking with Rider receiver Tim Kearse, who, of course, earlier this year was a member of the BC Lions and a former teammate with Mervyn Fernandez at San Jose State. And he says, you know, Mervyn is such a great receiver. He did things in college that he hasn't even thought about trying yet in Canadian Football League. And, of course, Fernandez was the Rookie of the Year in the Western Division last year.
First down.
And he just picked up a first down for the BC Lions at the Saskatchewan 53-yard line.
Of course, there's been a few players go the other way, too, from the BC Lions to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Kenny Hinton, Nate Johnson, Tim Kearse, of course. That's not Fred Fleming. I don't know why Al said that.
First down, Lions. Ray Strong hit in the backfield and dropped by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Rookie of the Year candidate, Carl Morgan, number 60, out of UCLA. A loss of about 3 yards on the play. The second down from the BC 54.
Morgan's had an outstanding rookie year. And talking to Reuben Berry, he's been very, very pleased in his short tenure here as the Rider head coach. Morgan's got 9 sacks coming into today's ball game.
Lions right now are -7 rushing. Second down and 13. Morgan with the pressure. Pow escapes it and finds Strong. Mike Emery in pursuit. He can't bring him down. Finally, Vince Goldsmith takes him down at the 24-yard line. It'll be first and 10 BC. A gain of 31 yards for Ray Strong.
I don't know if I was Joe Papa. I'd send Strong and John Henry White both out of there when I drop straight back. I'd keep one back in there to pick off somebody.
Stay healthy.
But he found Strong just at the last moment. Joe looked like he was going to take off and run the football, but Strong puts it all the way down inside the 25-yard line.
4:40 remaining opening quarter. Lions on the move now. Saskatchewan. 24-yard line. Papa looking for Ray Strong. Penalty marker goes down. Pass well overthrown. Papa took a hit from Carl Morgan. Call is against Saskatchewan. Looks like a holding call, the early indication. So penalties hurt the first drive for the Lions, and they were forced to punt. Now penalties against Saskatchewan move the Lions deeper into Rider territory inside the 15.
Holding against Saskatchewan.
First down for the Lions.
First down, BC.
No score yet. We have 4:32 remaining in the first quarter. Joe Pow starting the ball game today in place of Reuterwald, who is here but on the sidelines. Picked up a bit of a knee injury last week. They rested him. He'll be back in action next week as the Lions close out the regular season at home against Ottawa. Looking in the end zone for Fernandez. End zone just not that big. And it'll be second down and 10. 44-28 was the score in the first meeting of the season in favor of the Lions. That was back in July.
Second down on the 50.
That was the infamous short kickoff to start the ball game.
It certainly was. You know, I had an opportunity to spend a little time around Reuben Berrydale when he was an assistant coach of the BC Lions, and although there are a number of coaches in this league, including Jocko and Calgary, that are known for their sense of humor, Rube has a great one himself. He said about his ball club, he says, we got to shave a few more times. Pretty neat way of saying they're young.
Pass intended for Pancratz. Slightly overthrown. Fran McDermott covering on the play. That brings up third down. And we'll get a look at Lucas Saglia's field goal attempt.
Down on the 15.
Pow heads to the sidelines. Pancratz stays in as the holder. Tim Cowan in discussion with Don Matthews along the sidelines. Cowan expected to see some action later on this afternoon.
Word is from Don Matthews, Dale, that he'll play the entire second half, so the Lions stick to their game plan. You'll just see Joe Pow in the first half and Tim in the second.
Pancratz will hold 22-yard line. Pasaglia's kick is good, and we have our first scoring of the afternoon with 3:29 remaining in the opening quarter. The BC Lions are out in front of the Saskatchewan Roughriders by a field goal. We're coming right back to Regina. Following the interception by Kevin Konar, the Lions drove 3 minutes and 15 seconds for a Pasaglia field goal. They lead it And you see the halftime score at Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton. The Stampeders, the big one for them, leading the Tiger Cats by 5. Riders, 1st and 10 from their own 35. Jordan, good protection that time, and didn't get the ball to Tim Kearse, number 1, the intended receiver. Be 2nd down and 10.
Interesting offensive move by the Riders there, bringing everybody to the left side and rolling that defensive backfield of the BC Lions from left to right. Both of these ball clubs using similar type of passing formations and to isolate receivers on one side or the other.
France, the intended receiver, and Jordan overthrows them that time, and it's 3rd down. First pass on this drive, or this sequence at least, was short. This one was too far, and Dave Badowich is in to punt. Homer Jordan, the rookie out of Clemson, started the season here in Saskatchewan as the number 3 quarterback. And through all the turmoil and the controversy, he is now the number 1 guy here. After the departure of Joe Adams and the trade of John Hufnagel to Winnipeg. Good punt this time by Badowich. Gets it in the air a long way, backing up Crawford to about his 17-yard line. Crawford, an excellent punt returner, brings it back out across the 35. 18-yard return after a 57-yard kick. And, of course, the BC Lions will host the Western Final, and they want to be in that game right there on the 27th of November.
Well, Dale, they haven't been there for 19 years and only twice in the history of the Grey Cup, and it'll be a great pleasure for the CTV network to be bringing you the entire ball game, the pregame show, the festival events that are going to happen during the course of the week. It'll be fun to be involved at BC Place. Everybody looking forward to that one. First down for the Lions. Penalty marker on the play as Pow goes to Pancratz, and he takes a serious hit low from Fran McDermott. Gain of about 8 yards, but we'll wait and see what the penalty call is. It'll bring him back. Procedure call against the Lions. Pancratz still not completely healthy from that badly bruised thigh that he suffered against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers a couple of weeks ago.
Illegal procedure for number 24.
Mervyn Fernandez.
Penalty of 5 yards down.
So it's first down over again and 15 yards to go.
Ball's on the 32.
2:13 remaining in the opening quarter. Lions lead it 3-0. John Herrera has been the man under the gun here in Saskatchewan with some of the deals and some of the things that have taken place. Mervyn Fernandez. He has a gain of about a couple on the play. That's all. Quickly, the Saskatchewan defense converged on him. Morgan was there. Kenny Hinton, Mike Emery.
But Carl Morgan's been all over the field already, Dale.
2nd down, 14.
He is their Rookie of the Year candidate, coming into the ball game with 9 sacks. Out of UCLA, wearing number 60. That time he put the stop on Mervyn Fernandez, who will split off wide to the left side on 2nd down and 14. Powell with the throwback for Chapdelaine. He's got him at midfield. Chapdelaine has the first down at the Saskatchewan 54. Hit by Kenny Hinton, number 28. A gain of 23 yards.
Well, the defensive backs and linebackers of the Saskatchewan Roughriders are timing their hits pretty super on the receivers after they've caught the football, but it's a big game for the Lions once again. Kenny Hinton, of course, another former BC Lion who has been playing extremely well since coming over to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He's number 28.
Chapdelaine starting as an inside receiver. The give is to Ray Strong, picking his way through the middle of that Saskatchewan defense. Frank Robinson, number 37, finally put the stop on him. And they'll spot the ball near the Saskatchewan 46-yard line. And it'll be 2nd down and about 1. There's head coach Rube Berry, who took over from Joe Faragelli. His record since he became the 31st head coach of the Riders is 2-6. A lot of people wondering whether or not Rube's going to be back as head coach of this football team next year. Discussions with him earlier this week. He said he's very close to an agreement with John Herrera, but they won't finalize anything until after the 1983 regular season, which for Saskatchewan ends a week from today in Calgary. John Henry White on 2nd and 1. He has the first down, so the BC Lions sustain the drive.
You know, Rube has been head coach for a lot of years in the college ranks, and his record as a head coach has really been outstanding. In 11 years, he's had 72 wins against 42 losses. There's a timeout on the field. The BC Lions still leading 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. We'll be back to Taylor Field in just a moment.
I thought Kevin Konar made that first interception led to a field goal. Kevin, 40 intercepts for you guys this year. That's remarkable. You've had a great year defensively.
We have, you know, our defense, the secondaries, we get in the big records like that. And, it's a combination of everything, the line, getting the pressure on, and, you know, the defense has been playing well.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Well, from Kevin Konar talking about his interception, you're watching Marshall Hamilton picking off his 5th interception of the year and snuffing out a potential BC scoring threat and giving the Saskatchewan Roughriders the football at their own 26-yard line. A 21-yard return after he picks it off.
He's playing center field back there from his safety position, and Joe Powell suffers his 9th interception of the year. Chuck delaying the intended receiver, and once again, the BC Lions snuff out their own drive. The first couple of opportunities they had put points on the board have been stopped by penalties. Now the big turnover.
First down, Riders. Homer Jordan looking for Mike Washington. And Tyrone Cruz
what a
is
great
there
effort.
to stop him at the 25 or near the line of scrimmage. A couple of flags go down. I think Cruz even got pushed from behind.
Quilter, number 65, the right offensive guard, I believe, was hitting Cruz from behind, and Cruz still made the play. Tremendous effort by the big middle linebacker of the Lions, number 50. I believe, however, that they're going to tack this penalty onto it, and the Riders will be 1st and 20.
When you talk about differences between these two clubs, Frank, I think you can just look at the interception totals for the year. As you see Tim Cowan warming up, BC has 40 intercepts for the year. Saskatchewan has only 13, the lowest in the league. Tells you a lot right there.
But you know, Dale, it's been a fact
Clipping, number 65, Saskatchewan.
for some time now that the Saskatchewan Roughriders offensive line has done an excellent job in protecting their quarterback. They usually are sacked for the least of anybody in the country, and it's certainly not the quarterback himself that deserves all the credit because they've changed quarterbacks so often.
Saskatchewan led the CFL in allowing the fewest quarterback sacks the past 2 years, and right now they have the 2nd best record in 1983. Oddly enough, the leaders in that category, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. First down. 25 yards to go. Mike Washington wrapped up quickly by Reuben Vaughn, number 79, one of the newcomers defensively for the BC Lions, playing his 4th game for the Lions. He's out of Colorado, 6'3", 251, number 79, putting the stop on Mike Washington. Second down, still a long way to go for Saskatchewan, about 20 yards. Washington picked up 5. Lions lead at 3-0 with 13 and a half minutes remaining in the second quarter. Big trouble for Homer Jordan, but he almost got away from it. Short hopped it to Mike Washington and bring up 3rd down. And the Saskatchewan punting unit comes in.
3rd down and 20.
Statistically, in the first quarter, the BC Lions with the edge, of course, on the scoreboard.
Big edge in terms of possession of the football as well. The defense of the BC Lions has just had an outstanding year, and Don Matthews, prior to the ball game, said there's no question in his mind it's the best defense in the Canadian Football League, and I think there's a lot of reason to agree with him.
Big rush from Badowitz. He gets it away. Crawford waiting for it. Own 53. Just head straight out of bounds. I think he thought he'd get there before he took a hit, but Marshall Hamilton gave him a shot in case. 2-yard return after a 41-yard punt. It's 3-0 for the BC Lions over the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and we'll be back in just a moment. On your left, the Saskatchewan head coach. On your right, behind Glenn Leonard, the BC Lions head coach. Right now, the BC Lions have the football at midfield, 1st and 10. Little reverse there to John Henry White. He has a gain of close to 4 or 5 yards on the play. White takes it to about the Saskatchewan 51. Carl Morgan once more got a piece of the ball carrier. Louis Pasaglia's 22-yard field goal in the first quarter, still standing up. The only scoring so far this afternoon.
Halftime in Calgary.
We have 12 and a half minutes remaining in the second quarter. Steve Dennis picks off foul. Second straight interception for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And for Steve Dennis, that's his 3rd of the year. And he brings it back 11 yards. The Rider defense turns the ball over once more. Powell picked off twice.
You know, Reuben Berry was talking about Steve Dennis in yesterday's press conference. He said he's probably the smartest cornerback he's ever had play for him. He's only had about 3 touchdowns thrown behind him in the last 3 years. Now, I don't know if that stat is exactly accurate, but that's what his head coach thinks of him. Joe throws his 2nd of the afternoon.
That pass was intended for Bradley. Dennis intercepts it. Homer Jordan on 1st and 10. Lots of time. Puts it way up for Nate Johnson. It's a touchdown for Saskatchewan as he outfought the defensive back for the score.
I thought this ball might never come down, Dale. That's Larry Crawford, number 28, trying to keep up with the speedy Nate Johnson, who clearly had gotten behind the BC Lions. And he took the ball away from Crawford, the leading interceptor in the league this year. But Nate, who has played on both sides of the ball, gets the first major of the ball game.
56-yard score for Nate Johnson, the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber. Dave Ridgway converts it, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders go in front of the BC Lions. 7-3 is now the score, and we're coming right back in just a moment. Nate Johnson sitting on the far end of the Saskatchewan bench, accepting congratulations from his teammates for a 56-yard touchdown on a pass from Homer Jordan. The kickoff by Dave Ridgway rolls near the sidelines, picked up by Ray Strong, and he stopped immediately, 22-yard line. 47-yard kickoff return of 4. Now here's Homer Jordan, and he put this ball up in the air for a long way, and as Frank said, it didn't look like it was ever going to come down.
Dale, this time of the year, now that ball would normally come down with at least a little bit of frost on it here at Taylor Field, would it not? For some reason, Joe Powell has continued to have his interception problems. He by far leads the Canadian Football League in interceptions per throw. He's now had 10 for the year.
First down play for the BC Lions. And Ray Strong takes it out to about the 25-26, giving the gain of 3 or 4 yards on the play. Saskatchewan Roughriders intercepting Powell twice here in this quarter. One by Marshall Hamilton, one by Steve Dennis. Calgary Stampeders and Hamilton Tiger Cats are going at it at Ivor Wynne Stadium, and the Stampeders, thanks to a touchdown run by Ray Krause, now lead at 20-7 in the third quarter. Second down and 6 for the Lions. Ray Strong surrounded. He'll lose about 4 or 5 yards on the play, and will bring up third down. Spirited effort here now by the Saskatchewan defense, and that certainly brings this crowd to life.
Well, Dale, as you know very well, in talking to Reuben Berry, the head coach of the Riders, one of his objectives defensively was to have a swarming type of defense where you've got a lot of people around that ball carrier. He certainly showed it there. He's been a little bit disappointed in his defense and the fact that they haven't been quite as physical as he liked them to be, but they're not quite as big a dominating defense as he'd like to see either.
You're exactly right about the size of them, especially their linebackers. They don't have big linebackers. Pasaglia is punted. Good kick by Pasaglia. Tim Kearse, 24-yard line.
Tim Kearse
Pierce takes it to the Saskatchewan 30. 64-yard punt by Pasaglia. That'll certainly help his average. 10:24 remaining in the second quarter. Saskatchewan with the ball back. They lead it 7-3, and they're at their own 30-yard line.
I'd like you to remind BC Lion fans that next Saturday, November 5th, the Ottawa Roughriders will be in town for the final league ball game. Tickets available at all VTC and CBO outlets, including major shopping malls and BC Place Stadium. Dale I and Al McCann will also be there to bring you that ball game across the CTV network.
Johnson again on the receiving end of a Homer Jordan pass, forced out of bounds by Terry Parker near the 37-yard line. It's a gain of close to 7, second down and 3. Johnson just got a touchdown for Saskatchewan as he
Second down and 4.
outfought Larry Crawford for the football at the goal line. Johnson moving over to Saskatchewan along with Nicky Hall and Jason Riley. In the trade, John Huffnagel. Nicky Hall, incidentally, out for the season. Knee injury. Johnson again. He's got a first down, and he's smacked from behind and dropped by Reuben Vaughn.
Bill, you know, I was mentioning where we'll be next week. Also, our counterparts, Lee Pedersen and Pat Marsden, Bill Stevenson, are going to be at a very important Eastern contest, the Hamilton Ticats of Montreal, and that will decide the final playoff position in the Eastern Division. That should be a great one.
How about those Concords yesterday? 25-20 decision over the Ottawa Roughriders.
Those two ball clubs have both come on extremely strong in the last half of the year, Ottawa and the Concord.
Greg Fieger on the draw. Middle opens up for him, and he's got a gain of 9 yards to the Saskatchewan 51-yard line. Rick Klassen, number 60, making the tackle. Fieger, one of 4 ex-Regina Ram juniors, starting on offense for Saskatchewan. The other 3 are offensive linemen, Roger Aldag, Bob Poley, and Brian Hillerbrunn. Second down and a little more than a yard to go. The pitch to Washington. Nice bit of running for the first down. Washington's having himself a good afternoon with solid effort every time he gets his hands on the football. And the Roughriders get another series of downs at their 54. 8:15 remaining second quarter. Saskatchewan out in front of BC 7-3. The Lions have only lost once to a Western Division team this year, and that was their last trip into Calgary a few weeks ago. Here's Washington again. Good blocking as he turns the corner, and he's to the BC 50, and he has another gain of 6 yards.
Riders are doing a good job of getting around to the outside of the defense of the BC Lions. They're having to turn up inside of the contained man, but they've done it very successfully on 3 or 4 occasions now. 7:53 remains in the second quarter of this ball game. It's a 7-3 lead by the Riders.
Coming into the ball game, Washington number 2 in the West in rushing with 549 yards. A 4.2-yard average. He's bettering his average this afternoon so far. That pass knocked down by Larry Crawford as he was blitzing from that halfback spot. And he'll bring up third, and the punting unit comes in. Crawford did that once to Dieter Brock earlier this year and resulted in a touchdown for him.
Remember that very well, right at BC Place.
Crawford will drop back as the punt return man along with Billy McBride, a former Saskatchewan Roughrider, number 16. 6 former Riders now with the BC Lions at one. And all those former Riders were with Saskatchewan one time this year. 5 of them are playing in this ball game. Attaway to Crawford. 9-yard line. Stopped at the 15. 41-yard punt and a return of 6. Lions will start deep in their own end when we come back. Saskatchewan leading it 7-3. We'll return in a moment. While we're at Taylor Field, those folks you're looking at right there are across the street.
Didn't quite get into ballpark.
enjoying the action from their vantage point. First down Lions, 15-yard line. The pass goes incomplete. And trying to run with the football before it actually controlled it was John Pankratz, number 21. Second down and 10.
Well, that shot reminds me of many playoff games that we've seen and some that we played in here at Taylor Field. They were packed not only in this ballpark, but all around it.
Pau has been intercepted twice, thrown one incompletion, and one completion for -4 yards in his last 4 attempts. Nobody open. Pau on his own now. Ball comes loose.
The football.
Lions got it back. But they'll be short of the first down at the 20-yard line. Some of the Riders say they've got it. Frank Robinson looks like he's got football in his hands.
It's Goldsmith, number 78, in there trying to put the pressure on Joe Pau and catches up with him from behind, but it appeared to me to be Al Johns, number 62, who knocked that football loose from the BC quarterback. Johns come in from the backside, and that ball definitely was free for a moment. It'll create a 3rd and 5 for the Lions, so once again, Lou will have to kick it away.
6:20 remaining in the second quarter. Saglia getting ready to punt on 3rd down and 5. Pierce and McDermott back deep.
Big kick down to the 29.
Here's McDermott on the return. Got a couple of good blocks and brings it back out to about the 47-yard line. Good return by Fran McDermott, the second-year man out of St. Mary's in California. Good football action coming up on CTV. The Vanier Cup, Saturday, November 19th. And college football at its best.
48-yard line.
And, of course, that is just one of a number of great football games that we'll have for you here on CTV in the month of November. We'll tell you more about the others as the afternoon wears on. First down, Saskatchewan, 48-yard line. Greg Feger hit at the line of scrimmage by Reuben Vaughn and finished off by Kevin Konar, number 31. Gain of a couple on the play. Second down. 5.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Stampeders have added another single.
All on the 50.
Now have a 14-point lead over the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
It does not look good for the Edmonton Eskimos fans as far as playoff picture in the Western Division this year. With that loss last night, it's going to be tough.
Homer Jordan trying to go to Nate Johnson. Penalty flag is down. Jordan was hit just as he released the football.
Still, the big pressure came from Mac Moore, number 78. I'd like to say something about Mac because I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. He's had 15 sacks during the course of 1983. He's number 78, of course, and he's playing in the middle of that defensive line for the BC Lions. It is very unusual for a defensive tackle playing in the inside to lead the ball club in sacks. I believe he's easily got the most of anybody playing on the inside in the Canadian Football League. He's had a tremendous year.
Well, there's really only one fellow that plays on the outside that I know of that would have more than that, and that's Vince Goldsmith.
Well, I don't remember anybody in the last few years since sacks were kept as a record that has averaged more than 1 sack per game and played that defensive tackle spot. Mack, of course, is a big fella at 6'5", 260 pounds, and only in his 3rd year of the BC Lions, but by far his best in terms of pressuring opponent's quarterback.
Injured BC Lion on the play. Let's go to Al.
I'll tell you, I got a guy here, Frank, you were talking about unrecognized. This guy isn't unrecognized because he's a Shenley Award nominee, John Blaine. John, I think you guys, you'd have to agree that it's just been a super season for you.
Oh, it's exciting for us because now we can play all our playoff games in BC place.
Plus the fact you get a chance to heal some wounds, too.
Yeah, this is good for us. It gives experience to the young guys, and also some of the older guys get a chance to heal up and get ready for a Western final at home.
Okay, well, you can't beat this weather in Regina, can you?
Oh, this is beautiful. It's like summer out here.
Congratulations, you've had a great season.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you talk about great football games that are going to be exclusively on CTV. So is this one, the CFL All-Star game. That, of course, December 3rd. And Big John Blaine, who Al McCann was just talking to, will most likely be one of the participants in that ball game. Looking forward to bringing that to you on the full CTV network.
We're ready for action again now. Saskatchewan's 1st and 10. Glenn Jackson helped to the BC bench, favoring that right knee. Mike Washington, Larry Crawford played off the block beautifully and made the tackle, throwing Washington out of bounds at the Saskatchewan bench. Should be a gain of possibly half a yard on the play. Ernie Glear, Kevin Konar, and Tyrone Cruz are the linebacking core now for the Lions as you look at Jackson being attended to on the far side of the field. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Somebody predicting it's going to be the Ottawa Roughriders representing the Eastern Division November 27th.
Who are they playing? CTV? Oh, no, I missed part of that.
Second down, a little more than 9, facing Saskatchewan. Looking for DeFrance. Oh, and he is hit immediately. Ball pops loose. It looks like the Lions have got it.
Right, Kerry Parker went right after the Saskatchewan Rough Rider receiver and tried to rip that ball loose from it. Watch Parker come up. He's number 17. Boom, stripping that ball loose, and he's effective in doing it. But it was declared that the ball carrier was down prior to the ball popping loose.
You see Brian Illerbrun coming in on top of Larry Crawford. Crawford now just getting back to his feet. Complaining about the shot he took in the back from Illerbrun. It's now 3rd down, Saskatchewan. About 9.5 to go from the BC 49. So Saskatchewan will kick it away with 4.5 minutes remaining until the halftime break. Crawford going to the bench now is replaced on the punt return team by Gerald Bradley, number 72. And he drops back deep along with Billy McBride, number 16. Bradley out of Weber State. Getting a chance to play now with Sammy Green no longer with the BC Lions.
Great speed, Dale. This guy can really move.
Step through there. Stay around.
Badowich angling it for the sidelines, and it lands out of bounds. See where they mark it.
Out of bounds.
Football.
At the 10.5-yard line.
That's where it's going to be, right inside the 11-yard line. Hamilton Tiger Cats have added a field goal, and they now trail by 11 in the third quarter. Let's go to Al.
Frank Rigney was talking about this gentleman, Mac Moore, who anchors that defensive line. Mac, I just want to congratulate you. 15 sacks, working from the inside. That's got to be incredible.
Yeah, it is, but, you know, I've been really blessed by Lord this year to be healthy, you know, that's one thing. And, you know, with Ruben in there now, it frees me up some now, and he's getting double teamed. So, you know, on all the whole defense has been playing well. The defensive backs have been holding them up so that we can have time to get to him. And, you know, we just all been playing together this year.
Congratulations, Mac. Great season.
Oh, thank you.
Saw Papa airing it out, trying to hit Mervyn Fernandez deep. Overthrowing the intended receiver, Kenny Hinton, former BC Lion Kenny Hinton.
I thought Hinton had about as good a coverage on Fernandez as you could have, but Joe decided to put the ball up anyway. You can't blame him. Fernandez has made such spectacular catches from time to time. He can do it on his own sometimes.
Yeah, you don't necessarily get position on the guy and still beat him.
That's right. He can jump about 12 feet in the air.
Right at this point, with 3:45 remaining in the second quarter, the Lions have managed just 4 yards total offense. Papa, of course, has been intercepted twice in this quarter. Operating deep in the BC end of the field, 2nd and 10 from the 10. Looking for Fernandez, and it just slipped through his fingers. Kenny Hinton was right there. And it'll bring up 3rd down.
You know, Dale, the BC Lions, of course, wrapped up first place last week against the Hamilton Ticats, but this has not been a ball club that has been very consistent offensively over the last month. It's going to be a little tough, I think, for them to have not played in a football game that means anything for such a long period of time, particularly when your offense hasn't been consistent.
I think Al has a report on Glenn Jackson's injury.
Well, Dale and Frank, there's concern about Glenn Jackson, the veteran linebacker. They are hoping it is only a knee sprain. They're going to check it, of course, at halftime. It's iced down now. Glenn very disconsolate, of course, because he would hate to miss the playoffs.
Another big kick by Pasaglia, backs up McDermott to his own 35. He's got some room to go, and he gets it out to near the 50-yard line.
That one had to be close to 65 yards.
Exactly right, Frank. 14-yard return after a 65-yard kick. Riders have the ball, and they lead it 7-3, and we'll be back in just a moment.
'1983 Vanier Cup from Varsity Stadium in Toronto. The best of university football here on CTV, Saturday, November 19th.
Well, when it's Halloween weekend, a lot of strange things happening. Al McCann putting on a show along with Gainer the Gopher, both on the far side of the field.
I think he's got better moves than
I'll bet you. That Gainer's not bad.
Just 3 minutes and 2 seconds remaining until halftime. Saskatchewan leading at 7-3 over the BC Lions. First down at the Rider 49-yard line. Mike Washington on the receiving end of Homer Jordan's pass again. Mel Bird brings him down near the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Bernie Clear was also over there forcing the play. Second down and 10 coming up. Riders have used that play on a number of occasions and really haven't had a lot of success with it, but they keep going back to it.
Watch Nate Johnson. This is Nate Johnson as a blocker. He's trying to get position on Tyrone Cruz and actually does a pretty good job of getting in his way. I don't think he really hurt him with that great contact. Oh, great job by Rick Klassen.
Klassen came all the way around and caught Jordan as he was trying to move up into that pocket. Maybe even try to get out of there. Klassen brings him down. They were incomplete passes. Jordan did get semblance of a pass away.
Watch him coming in from your left side, number 60, Klassen. He's working against Hillebrand. He just does not give up. He goes all the way around Hillebrand and comes from behind. Just great effort by Rick Klassen. Klassen came in with 6.5 sacks for the ball game. And while we see the exchange of football, let me remind season ticket holders of the BC Lions, they have only until this coming Friday to purchase their season tickets for the Western Final game, which of course will be Sunday, November 20th at 2 p.m. You had a voucher with your season ticket. Just take it to any of the ticket outlets by November 6th and exchange it for your same seats for that Western Final game. All the other tickets will go on sale to the general public on Monday, November 7th.
That was a 46-yard punt by Dave Badowich, returned 5 yards by Billy McBride, and tackled by Eddie Lowe. First down BC at their own 20-yard line. We have 2:11 remaining in the second quarter. Saskatchewan out in front of the Lions by a 7-3 count, and a touchdown by Nate Johnson, converted by Ridgway. All the Lions scoring to this point on a 22-yard field goal by Lou Pasaglia in the first quarter. Joe Pow playing the first half here for the Lions. Completes this one to John Pankratz for a gain of about 6 yards. Tackled by Frank Robinson. First catch of the afternoon for Pankratz. Second down and 4. Expect to see Tim Cowan quarterbacking the BC Lions in the second half. Roy DeWalt not in uniform. They're resting him. He'll play next week against Ottawa. Chapdelaine over the middle, gets away from Lowe. First down, out to the 47-yard line. McDermott and Johnson team up to bring him down. 21-yard gain.
Bill, I think we should say for BC Lion fans that Roy DeWalt was not in bad enough physical shape to miss his ball game. He could have played very easily had they wanted to play the veteran quarterback.
John Henry White coming out of the backfield takes the pass from Pow. He's got another first down. He's into Saskatchewan territory, finally forced out at the 46-yard line by Eddie Lowe, number 42. The Lions have got something going here as the second quarter winds down. 1:46 remaining. Until this drive, the Lions have only managed about 4 yards total offense in this quarter. Looking for Bradley. play, and he's got it in front of Kenny Hinton at the 39-yard line for a gain of 7, second down and 3 for BC. Quick out pattern by Bradley.
Ball to Saskatchewan 39.
Stops the clock, 1:42 remaining. 2 first downs in this quarter, both in this drive. Looking for another one here. Draw to Donnie Taylor, number 19. And he may have enough for the first down. Rusty Olson, number 79, making the tackle. He plays that weak side defensive end for Saskatchewan. And they're going to measure this one.
Request for measurement.
Dale, has happened so often, the BC Lions offensively are looking a lot better in their kind of hurry-up offense in the last couple of minutes of this first half now. It's a first down for them just outside the 35-yard line. We have 1:38 remaining in this first half now.
And the Lions huddled very quickly. They're back out over the football now.
First and 10 from the Riders 35.
Yardsticks placed along the sidelines. Saskatchewan haven't scored that many and had a lot scored against them this year. Ray Strong gets away from McDermott, but that is hauled down by Frank Robinson. Strong has a gain of about 4 yards to the Saskatchewan 32, second down and 6. Strong lines up in the backfield now with Donnie Taylor, John Henry White out of there. Over the middle to shut the lane, and this time he is wrapped up immediately, and there'll be very little gain on the play. They'll spot the ball near the 30 and leave the Lions third and close to 5 yards to go.
Good job by Eddie Lowe, the linebacker, on the play. Number 42, who, again, one of those small but very mobile linebackers that the Saskatchewan Roughriders have had so many of this year.
So Lou Pasaglia is in to try a 37-yard field goal with John Pankratz doing the holding. The only man deep is Dwight Edwards for Saskatchewan. Low snap. Pankratz gets it spotted. It is wide to the right side. Dwight Edwards will give up the single point. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders will take over, leading 7-4 with 1:03 remaining in the second quarter. Saw a few missed field goals last night in that game in Edmonton.
As you can see, the snap wasn't really that bad. Pankratz just had a bit of trouble putting a handle on it. What breeze there is here this afternoon on almost a perfect day at Taylor Field is coming from the west. The Riders working against it. It really hasn't had much of an effect on this ball game, except possibly some slight effect on the punting game.
First down from the 35. Mike Washington again. And Reuben Bond is over there to bring him down. Crawford's looking for a flipping call against Chris DeFrance for Ardeni. And it'll be a loss on the play of about 2 yards for Washington, second and 12.
Well, Crawford's done an exceptional job here this afternoon of coming up very quickly against the run and those short passes. You have to think that maybe he's subject to a little bit deeper throw once in a while. And there it is.
Stu Fraser, the intended receiver, and Crawford was with him all the way down the sidelines. And so very quickly, Saskatchewan Roughriders will have to punt the football away. And we have 47 seconds left.
Play was 28 Larry
Crawford certainly got back there very quickly, even though he was playing right up at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Dave Dadowich is in to punt. Crawford drops back deep with Billy McBride. Moving up for it this time is Crawford, 36-yard line. Greg Feger is downfield quickly to make the tackle on Crawford. Also down there, number 67 is Rob Waite. 39-yard punt that time and a 2-yard return. So the BC Lions have the ball back with 38 seconds remaining.
Rob Waite, another ex-BC Lion from early in the '83 season that the Riders have picked up.
Powell looking for John Henry White, swinging out of that that backfield. White takes it to the 45 and falls forward to about the 47. They'd be close to 2 yards short of the first down, a gain of 8. No huddle, of course, the Lions. Right over the football, 2nd down and 2. Alpha had a notion to go to Fernandez. He changed his mind and went down the middle instead to John Pankratz for the first down at the Saskatchewan 49. 24 seconds left.
Fernandez coming down just on a quick hook pattern. Go back to live action now.
Paopao stepping up, completes this one to Fernandez. Fumbles the football out of bounds, and they'll retain possession at the 24-yard line of Saskatchewan. Well, the BC Lions were just in field goal range, had to settle for a single, and the Riders couldn't do anything with the ball, and now the Lions are right back there with a chance to tie this ball game up before halftime.
You know, the whole offense of the BC Lions in this quarter has been in this last 2 minutes. They better hurry. They've only got 9 seconds to get this off and still try to kick a field goal.
Have to throw this one out of bounds.
Well,
this will be the last play.
That. Oh, that's all over.
And it's going to be picked off in the end zone by Fran McDermott. I really wonder what Joe Paopao was thinking about on that.
Absolutely no idea. Time had run out anyway. Paopao with his 3rd interception of the first half. Looking forward to seeing Tim Cowan in the second half.
That one by Fran McDermott. That's his 3rd of the year. Previous interceptions by Marshall Hamilton and Steve Dennis. Let's go to Al at the halftime break.
I've got Coach Don Matthews with me. Don, interesting first half, particularly with Joe going. I understand maybe Tim Cowan we'll see in the second half.
Yeah, Tim's going to play the second half. That definitely is the case. We were a little rusty in the first half. Sometimes a different quarterback creates a different tempo. We had a couple of penalties we shouldn't have, but certainly after this game, hopefully this experiment will make us a better team.
Negatively, I hope that Glenn Jackson isn't severely injured coming down with that bad knee.
Well, we'll look at that when we get back to BC.
I guess it's a little difficult when you got first place clinch, Coach, to kind of keep the tempo proper prior to that Western final. It's a ways down the road yet.
Well, I think our tempo's okay. I think it's our execution we're lacking a little bit, and certainly Saskatchewan is playing well, and their tempo is up, so I look forward to an exciting second half.
Your defense is looking really good.
Well, they've played well all year, Al.
You got a perfect day for it, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Coach Don Matthews of the British Columbia Lions. We've got a 7-4 football game going for us right now with the homestanding Saskatchewan Roughriders leading. In just a moment, Johnny Esau's yesterday in the CFL with Don Visick.
Vanier Cup from Varsity Stadium in Toronto. The best of university football here on CTV. Saturday, November 19th.
He won a National Collegiate Championship in his sophomore year with Ohio State in 1954. After graduation, 2 years later, he turned down offers in the U.S. to play with the BC Lions. For 8 seasons, he would play both as a fullback and linebacker. And during BC's lean years until they became Grey Cup champions in 1964. We'll meet the durable number 36 today as Carling O'Keefe Sports presents Yesterday in the CFL. Don Visick was an outstanding linebacker and a fullback deluxe. He climaxed a great college career with Ohio State. He played on some of those great Woody Hayes football teams, and he brought those outstanding talents to the British Columbia Lions. All Canada, and certainly the BC Lion fans applauded as he made a great contribution toward the building of the British Columbia dynasty. At 6'2" and 215 pounds, he was a great all-round athlete and was quickly recruited by BC coach Wayne Robinson. In 1959, he had his best offensive season, leading BC ball carriers with 802 yards and 6 touchdowns. Eventually, Don shifted his talents to defense and became one of Jim Champion's headhunters. We asked Don about his career in the CFL at Empire Stadium. Don, it's been a long time since you're out here at old Empire Stadium knocking heads with some of those football teams from all across Canada.
Yeah, 1964, John, and I'll tell you, the game sure has changed.
Well, Woody Hayes, your old coach and one of the real great ones at Ohio State, Don, said that you were very definitely a top pro prospect. Now, obviously, the San Francisco 49ers agreed. They drafted you, but you chose to come here to British Columbia instead. Why?
Well, first of all, there wasn't very much money in the National Football League in those days. That was before the All-American Conference, or the American Football League. And secondly, I thought I had a better chance of making it in Canada because in Canada they wanted two-way ball players. In the States at that time in the NFL, they were still basically platooning. So they were looking for specialists.
Eventually, you played only on offense. What turned that around, Don?
Well, actually, I played offense mostly my first 3 years in Canada, and then I guess the main reason I went to defense is that a fellow named Nub Beamer joined the BC Lions, and of course Nub was a real powerhouse at fullback, and then I sort of became his backup man, and they found a spot for me at linebacker.
The Lions were only 3 years old when you joined them. Were you disappointed at what you saw? Were you surprised, or what did you really expect?
I was a little disappointed in sort of the organization my first 2 years, 57 and 58. I thought that at that time the coaching really was a bit below professional standard. In 59, though, Wayne Robinson arrived, and I thought that Wayne brought the first professional system to BC. And, of course, right away we had a fairly good ball club. We were, I believe, 9-7 and made the playoffs for the first time.
Being a great all-round athlete, Don turned his talents into defensive skills and became an integral part of BC's feared linebacking corps. In 1963, the Lions took their first-place 12-4 record to the Grey Cup, but lost to Hamilton 22-10. Don was a durable, highly competitive player, and he epitomized the great Lion character which eventually led them to the Grey Cup in 1964. Actually, the BC Lion team in 1962 was better than the record indicated. You almost made it, but Dave Scrine, the head coach, was a rookie. Now, would you have gone any farther with an experienced head coach?
Well, it was Dave's first year, but Dave was a good coach. Dave took that nucleus of good ball players, you know, the Fieldgates of this world and the Tom Browns, etc., and he molded that. He had the sort of the personality that would let those great players, you know, bear fruit. And 62, we almost made it. I think we missed the playoff by one game, and then 63 and 64, of course, were our great years.
Don, tell me, what was it like being a blocking back for Willie Fleming?
Easy.
Easy?
You can make a lot of mistakes and still look good. No, Willie was probably, well, you have to rank as one of the top 10 running backs that ever played in Canada, maybe any place.
Tell me, how good was Joe Cap?
Joe Cap probably got more out of the talent God gave him than any man I've ever met. He was a fighter. He'd give 110%. I don't think he was blessed with the greatest natural talent, but he sure used what he had. And he was a leader, Johnny. He made the guys... He made us rise up and use more of our talents.
If you had to do it all over again, is there anything that you would change?
Not really. Football has been good to me. Football in Canada and Vancouver has been very good to me. It's opened up opportunities in my profession. It's introduced me to my beautiful wife. It has introduced me to one of the finest cities in the world. No, I wouldn't change a thing.
Don Bissick, a BC Lion for 7 great years. Yesterday in the CFL.
Pack up your cares and troubles and leave them at home. We've got the screaming Bargulet game and the dome. Vancouver in November, it's the place to be. Strike up the band for you and for me. It's Santa's time, it's beautiful BC.
The regular season ends next week, and the story is the battle for third in both East and West. The Calgary Stampeders, now masters of their own destiny in the West, they must win over Saskatchewan next weekend at home. In the East, of course, it's Montreal and Hamilton against each other in Montreal next weekend, and those amazing Concords continued their playoff drive yesterday in Ottawa. In the second quarter, Kevin Starkey, in for the injured Johnny Evans, hits this pass to Ron Robinson, 27 yards, and Montreal led 7-5. In the third quarter, Denny Ferdinand, who had 82 yards in 8 carries, galloped 35 yards for the major score, and Montreal had a 6-point lead. Still in the third quarter, Starkey again, looking for his favorite receiver, Ron Robinson. 45 yards, the touchdown, Montreal up 21-8. In the fourth quarter, Ottawa came back. Chris Isaac, in for injured J.C. Watts, hits Pat Stokwa, closing the gap to 25-14. Isaac again, looking and finding Dave Newman for 7 yards, and the major, 5 points the difference. In the dying seconds, this was the big play. Vince Faison intercepts Isaac, clinching the victory for Montreal and setting the stage for that big matchup with Hamilton next weekend. Over in Edmonton, last night the Eskimos ended their regular season in total frustration. 8 missed field goals in the game, 5 by the veteran Dave Fettler. The way things went for Edmonton exemplified by this play. Joe Holloman overrunning the ball. It was that kind of night for the Grey Cup champions. But it wasn't all bad. Brian Kelly, 4 more pass receptions. He broke Joey Walters' all-time CFL record. And in likely his very final game in the CFL, Warren Moon had a marvelous season, but on a very frustrating note. Joe Barnes came in relief of injured Conridge Holloway. He hits Emmanuel Tolbert as the score seesawed in the late moments. In the final few seconds, it was Moon to Kelly, a very controversial play. The replays said he caught the ball, but the official rules, it was not in possession when he went out of bounds, and the Eskimos lose a very important touchdown. The big play for the Argonauts came just seconds later. Quarterback Joe Barnes obviously spotted something in the defense, a bit of a quarterback delay. He goes all the way into the end zone for the touchdown that gives the Argos the victory, 22-15. The Rothman Stars of last week. Quarterback John Huffnagel, quite a story for Winnipeg. Big number 12 sparked as the Bombers clinched second, beating Edmonton 33-15. This pass to Joe Poplawski in the fourth quarter, one of 3 touchdown passes, iced the win for Cal Murphy's injury-riddled Bombers. John Huffnagel, the offensive star of the week. The defense also played a big story in Winnipeg's victory. Number 55, defensive end, Tony Norman. What a game. He sacked Warren Moon at a very critical time, knocking the ball loose. And for this, Tony Norman was named Lineman of the Week in the CFL. Over in Montreal, again, more about the amazing Concords. They upset Calgary 27-8. Harry Skipper, number 26 at corner, had 3 interceptions. This one going for a touchdown. Huffnagel, Norman, and Skipper, the Rothmans Stars of the Week. Next weekend, it all ends as far as the regular season's concerned. And on Saturday, you're going to be seeing the Ottawa Roughriders at BC Place to play the Lions. Winnipeg is in Toronto. Then on Sunday, it's Hamilton at Montreal for third in the East, Saskatchewan at Calgary to decide third in the West. The CFL on CTV will continue in just 1 minute.
Canadian football stars are under the dome in an East versus West matchup. See All-Star Football on CTV Saturday, December 3rd.
Well, we're back at halftime. Tetterfield, as the score would indicate, 7-4 in favor of Saskatchewan. Not a heck of a lot of offense in the first 30 minutes, Frank, but some big defensive plays by these 2 teams.
Dale, it's almost embarrassing. The BC Lions, the number 1 ball club, against a team that's statistically almost the worst in the history of the Canadian Football League, but they just couldn't move the football. They did pick off a record-tying 40th interception. You saw that one by Kev Konar.
And Joe Paupow.
This was a pretty good move in the first quarter. Led to a 3-pointer by the BC Lions, which was the only score in the first quarter. They led it, of course, 3-0. That's Ray Strong, who picked up 31 yards on the play.
That set up the Sagley's 22-yard field goal. And then Paupow ran into interception trouble in the second quarter.
He had 3 of them. This was the first one. Hamilton down very close to the Saskatchewan goal line, or I should say beyond the Saskatchewan goal line. About a yard or 2 in the end zone, and Joe had 3 of them in that second quarter. Did not perform up to standard.
Riders got the ball, couldn't move it. BC got it back, and Paupau's intercepted again, this time by the veteran Steve Dennis.
It seemed that Joe had some problems in terms of locating his receivers from time to time. Jordan did not, however, when Nate Johnson broke behind Larry Crawford for this 56-yard score, the only major of the first 30 minutes. Boy, was that ball thrown high.
What breeze we do have this afternoon.
November 26th and 27th.
We're back for the second half, and Louis Pasaglia kicking off goes right to Ray Elgard, the rookie out of Utah, number 72 for Saskatchewan. He brings it back to the Saskatchewan 44.5-yard line. Don Matthews' defense out on the field. Saskatchewan first and 10. Riders lead it 7-4. Homer Jordan pumps one. Penalty flag going deep for Johnson, and it is knocked away by Nelson Martin, the safety, number 4. Moved over to help out on the coverage along with Kerry Parker.
Knocked away by
penalty flag.
Martin. There's a flag on
back near the line of scrimmage. A couple of them, really. Playing now in the fourth quarter at Ivor Wynne in Hamilton. Stampeders with an 18-point lead over the Tiger Cats. The victory would give Calgary an 8-7 record. Edmonton finished the season at 8-8. Calgary will host Saskatchewan next Sunday afternoon.
Dale, just a moment ago, Don Matthews turned to me and says, notice, we gave them the ball and the wind, but we get it in the fourth quarter.
Holding Saskatchewan number 65. First down.
Neil Quilter. The penalty call on, and it'll be first down over again. The ball moved back to the Saskatchewan 34.5. Wonder if Don Matthews misses the opportunity to take advantage of the wind when he's playing home games now.
I don't know. The way the BC Lions moved offensively, it doesn't matter who's got the ball.
Chris DeFrance gets back to about the 43-yard line. Still a yard shy of the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 11.
I was watching Ty Cruz on this play, and he was holding one of the receivers as they came out of it. It was not picked up, and the Riders picked up just about as much yardage as they lost on the penalty. It'll be 2nd and just over 10 yards.
DeFrance is open. Jordan missed him, though. DeFrance working himself into the open down the middle. Pass thrown a little too far by that man right there, and he's not too happy with himself as he heads to the bench. The punting unit comes on 3rd and 11.
That offensive total of 172 yards for the Lions kind of flatters them because they got most of it in the last couple of minutes. But as you can see, it has not been an offensively filled football game so far by either ball club. Only 81 yards by the Riders in the first half.
Here's Dave Badowitz to punt. Beautiful kick. Driving Crawford back to the 1-yard line. Coverage team downfield quickly. The Lions will start from near their own 10-yard line. A 65-yard punt by Dave Badowitz. 7-4. Riders lead the Lions, and we're coming right back to center field. Calgary Stampeders running away with it now at Ivor Wynne in Hamilton. A 25-point lead over the Tiger Cats in the fourth quarter. We're in the third quarter here at Taylor Field. You see the score. BC Lions have the football. The rookie Tim Cowan, number 14, is now at quarterback, and he hands off to Ray Strong on first down. Strong does a good job of finding an opening and getting out across the 15 to near the 17-yard line.
You know, Dale, Ray Strong, who we talked about before this ball game, really does look to have the runner's instinct for following his blocking and finding those holes. And he really didn't get that much of an opportunity with the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL to run with the football. He was the captain of the specialty teams, which gives you an idea of the type of dedication and how much he wants to play this game. But he looks like a guy that's been running with that football consistently.
Sure does. As you look at Tim Cowan, the rookie out of Washington, who's only thrown one pass attempt in 1983 for the Lions, and that was incomplete. BC coaches say he's a very intelligent young man and learns very quickly. Second down and a little bit over 2 yards to go. John Henry White, first down and more. He's out to the 29-yard line before the Saskatchewan defense can finally stop him. A gain of 11 yards on short yardage for John Henry White.
Well, there's nothing better for a young quarterback than to be able to hand the ball off for a couple of plays and get used to what's going on out there and pick up a big first down like that, starting from your own 10-yard line.
Job up front. You know, win or lose, gentlemen, it could be a bad news day for BC. There's quite a bit of concern about Glenn Jackson's knee. They feel he might have torn cartilage. They don't know for sure, of course. It would be such a shame to see the longtime veteran miss this shot.
Another running play as Cowan hands off to Strong again. He's to the 31 for a gain of a couple on the play. Pow, first half, 15 of 26, 172 yards, 3 interceptions. Replaced now by Tim Cowan. Second down, about 7 to go for the Lions. The ball spotted at the 32-yard line.
Calgary 35 and Hamilton 10.
Looking for Chapdelaine, who is working against Fran McDermott, number 29. Brings up third down, and the Lions will have to punt the ball away.
Third down and 7.
Louis Pasaglia comes in with just under 11 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Pasaglia moving up in the punting statistics, the all-time list in the CFL. Now 5th, started the year in 7th place. Not one of his better ones. End over end to Fran McDermott, 45. Bernie Blair is there and stops him right at the 45-yard line. That's a 33-yard kick that time by Pasaglia. Riders will have the ball when we come back. They have the lead, 7-4 over the Lions. We're returning in just a moment. Some folks here are getting ready for winter. Anyway, it hasn't arrived yet.
Well, it sure hasn't, Dale. I don't remember a prettier day than today in Saskatchewan this time of the year, but any time.
It's a beauty. First down for the Riders from their own 46. Mike Washington, big opening. Yard gain for number 18, Mike Washington.
Excellent blocks in the middle of that line by Bob Foley, the offensive center, and Quilter, 65. They picked off Vaughn and Moore right up the middle.
Kevin Koner, number 31, Mel Bird, number 10, in on the tackle. Pass intended for Tim Kearse goes incomplete. Billy McBride making the hit. Brings up second down. Kearse, a former Lion, McBride, a former Rider.
McBride a little bit upset with himself a while ago. He thought he should have had an interception against Jordan. But he puts a good hit on Tim Kearse as he's up in the air.
Tim Collin, now a quarterback for the Lions. He's still listening up at the bench, having replaced Joe Pow here in the second half. Brought down by Stu Fraser at the BC 53-yard line, and for Bernie Blair, that's his 5th interception of the year.
Bill, is that not the all-time CFL record now? 41 interceptions on BC Lions in 1983. An all-time Canadian Football League record.
It's their linebackers that have come up with the 2 interceptions today to give them their record. Bernie Blair, more of a rover back than a linebacker, but does qualify as such. So he gives the Lions the football at their own 52-yard line. Ray Strong. Carl Morgan has him after a gain of 1 yard.
Well, you'd think the young quarterback's going to have to put it in the air now. He's going to be second and about 8 yards to go.
.8:45 remaining in the third quarter. Saskatchewan hanging on to a 7-4 lead. The only touchdown of the ball game scored by Nate Johnson, 56-yard play. Pass from Homer Jordan. Pasaglia has kicked all of BC points. Cowan Saskatchewan. Far sideline for Bradley goes incomplete. And that'll bring up third down for the BC Lions.
Looks like that ball was thrown pretty well. Had a lot on it. I don't think Bradley was ready for as much stuff as Cowan had put on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Saskatchewan Roughriders quickly extend their thanks to the game.
Cowan's 0 for 2 since he came into the ball game. Louis Pasaglia is now back on the field to punt. With Barry with the Saskatchewan reserve quarterback, Steve Clarkson, in the warm-up jacket. Fran McDermott inside his own 10. Spins off one man and falls forward to about the 17-yard line. John Henry White was downfield to make contact with McDermott. A 49-yard punt by Pasaglia and a return of 9. So with 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter, Roughriders will start deep in their own zone.
You know, just a note, Lou Pasaglia averaged just over 50 yards in that first half punting the football, unofficially at least. And, of course, as I mentioned, in that first half, he's on his quest to become the first punter ever to average over 50 yards in one season. It's going to be touch and go right down to the final kick of the year, I think.
Well, to his advantage, though, he will get that final opportunity indoors. First play for the Saskatchewan Roughriders goes for virtually no gain at all. Washington being helped up by Konar, who was in on the tackle. And second down and about 9.5 from the 18. Well, they give him a gain of a yard on the play. Second down and 9.
You know, again, talking to Ruben Berry yesterday, talking about his inside receivers, I said, you know, what kind of guy do you really look for those inside receivers? He said, well, the first thing I look for is the guys that go down in that hook zone and don't get physically ill when the ball's on the way.
Nate Johnson made the catch, and they rule it incomplete. Stu Fraser picked it up, but they rule it incomplete anyway, and it's third down.
Once again, I think the Lions did a pretty good job of trying to strip the football away from Johnson after he made the initial reception. Kerry Parker, number 17, the defensive back. And you see that left hand in there?
Yeah, never really did get a chance to control the football. Well, it's a good call. Third down. Riders will have to punt it away. Dave Badovich, a rookie from the Regina Rams. In his first game replacing Kenny Clark, his first 2 punts were blocked by Harry Skipper of Montreal. Not a great way to start your CFL career. Certainly wasn't his fault. Cropper has trouble with it and gets on top of it right at the 45-yard line. Takes a solid hit while he's on the ground. Score is 7-4 in favor of Saskatchewan over BC, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Silly shit.
Reuben Vaughn, the 79, caught for holding. And BC Lions and that punt return. Now they have to start from their own 35-yard line.
He's been a good addition to that defensive front for the Lions. They've got as good a rush as they've had since they lost Nick Hebler earlier in the year because of Vaughn.
Tim Cowan to John Pankratz on first down. Steve Johnson got enough of them to bring him down at the 36-yard line. It's a gain of 1 on the play.
Tackled by 17, Steve Johnson.
Just a quick roll to the right side, and it's up to the receiver to pick up some yardage after that kind of completion. Could not do so in that instant.
Today's
Give him a 2-yard gain. Second down and 8.
23,895. Thank you.
Announcing the attendance here at Taylor Field, just under 24,000. Certainly enjoyable weather to watch football. Fernandez working his way back towards the football, has a first down, forced out of bounds at the BC 49-yard line. Kenny Hinton and Mike Emery hold the gain to 13 yards. Calgary Stampeders have defeated the Hamilton Tiger Cats. There you see the final score, 35-12. So the Stampeders now have a record of 8 wins and 7 losses. They are tied in points with the Edmonton Eskimos for the 3rd and final playoff spot in the West. Calgary will host Saskatchewan next weekend, and of course, if they win that one, they are in the playoffs. Edmonton, of course, has completed its 16-game schedule. Blitz from Goldsmith. He gets his first sack of the afternoon, and that gives him 18.5 for the season.
Mr. Kahn, meet Mr. Goldsmith. Well, when he comes quick, and nobody at all gets a shot at him. Ray Strong had set up to the inside. And Vince just beat everybody with his quickness once again. That'll get a young quarterback looking to the left side.
Second down and 22 as this crowd starts to make a noise. Fernandez is open. Jimmy Hinton has him and throws him out of bounds at the 49-yard line. I made that the 54-yard line. And that'll leave the Lions 3rd and 5, and they'll have to punt the ball away. 17-yard gain for Fernandez.
That's Chapdelaine get hit by Lowe. You don't catch many from that position.
Third down and
one of the things, Dale, that we haven't mentioned here this afternoon is we have brothers competing against each other today. Al Wilson, of course, the veteran offensive center of the BC Lion, and Peter Wilson, who was a Lion playing for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He's number 64.
Goldsmith almost blocked that, but Paseglia gets a fine kick away to McDermott, and he is stopped at the 10-yard line. 51-yard punt for Paseglia with 4:12 remaining in the third quarter. McDermott 5 on the return. Saskatchewan will start deep. 7-4, Saskatchewan leading the Lions. This is the final game of this weekend of CFL action. A couple of important games coming up next weekend. On Sunday, Hamilton at Montreal for the 3rd and final playoff spot in the East. Saskatchewan's at Calgary, a game. Calgary, really all they need is a tie in that one to clinch 3rd place in the West. Jordan to Mike Washington. Penalty marker down. Konar has Washington at the line of scrimmage. Reuben Vaughn, number 79, without his shoe.
Holding, Saskatchewan 57, declined, second down.
No gain on the play, so it's 2nd down and 10 for the Riders. Bob Foley, the offensive center. Up for holding. Under 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Quick kick, Stu Fraser. And that caught the BC Lions by surprise. Terry Parker gets back there for it. Out of bounds at the BC 40-yard line. That's a 71-yard punt by Stu Fraser. And a return of 11.
I got to be honest with you, Dale, I didn't know they had it in their repertoire. Only the Edmonton Eskimos a little earlier this year in a very wind-blown game with Neil Lumsden has tried that as far as 1983 in the CFL is concerned. Parker does a pretty good job of getting back there and returning it to the 40-yard line, but a good play by the Riders.
Stu Fraser was out in the end zone about 2 hours prior to game time, punting the ball. Getting his leg warmed up for that opportunity. So the Lions start at their own 40-yard line. Cowan under pressure finds Ray Strong in the middle, and he is stopped after a short gain by Eddie Lowe, number 42. He's putting pressure on the young quarterback right now. They're coming most opportunities. 2nd down and 8.
Gain of 3, 2nd down and 7. On the 43-yard line.
2:45 remaining. Cowan has now completed 4 passes in a row. That last one just barely over a 2-yard gain. Bradley goes wide to the left side. Fernandez is split off to the right along with Pankratz. Blitz again on Cowan, and he just lays this one up. Almost caught by Pankratz. Fernandez was also in the area.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Dale, if the younger quarterback wants to start throwing interceptions, this is his way to do it. He threw it just up for grabs. Pankratz almost making the reception, but that ball was floating down there, and it was a free ball for anybody. has been under extreme pressure in this third quarter, Dale. The Riders have been coming after the young guy.
Haven't given him any chance at all to set up. Saglia in the punt once more. Bounces past Tim Pierce. And McDermott gets a no-yards call against the BC Lions. The way the Lions seemed to speed up after that ball bounced, they may have thought that Pierce actually touched the football. That's the big day at BC Place Stadium, Sunday, November 27th. Right here on CTV, we'll have all the Grey Cup festivities for you. Grey Cup being played indoors for the first time. And
no yards, British Columbia
the week
31.
after that, Saturday, December 3rd, we'll be back at BC Place Stadium for the CFL All-Star Game.
Well, you might as well stay around in the Evergreen Playground, Dale.
We might just manage to stay on the coast there somewhere. Greg Figger takes the handoff from Homer Jordan, gets out across the 45. For a 4-yard gain for Figger. Minute and a half remaining in the third quarter. That's the initial first down for the Riders in the second half.
Gain of 4 yards, second down and 6. Ball from the Saskatchewan 46.
Correct that. The Riders have only one first down. Now they have two as Homer Jordan finds Tim Pierce inside BC territory, about the 52-yard line.
First down, Saskatchewan.
Good throw by Jordan as he rolls out to his left side. Just pulls up very, very briefly to deliver this football while he's basically still in motion, and a fine throw. That's a tough one to throw, and he did it very well.
Jordan goes down for a loss of close to 5 on the play.
Max Fuller with Homer Jordan.
Number 78 of the BC Lions has another sack to his total for the season.
Bill, I don't know if they'll give him a whole one or a half one on that because Kev Konar was in there. He came into this ball game, as we mentioned earlier, with 15 sacks. Just a great year. Should be the last play now of the third quarter, barring a penalty, of course.
And the Riders looking at second down and 14. They're now back on their own side of midfield. France, number 74, going in motion to the top of the screen. Big pressure on Jordan again, and once more the BC Lions sack the rookie quarterback. So both quarterbacks now facing a lot of pressure from the defensive front. And that'll be the end of the third quarter here at Taylor Field in Regina. The Saskatchewan Roughriders will be forced to punt the football away to open the fourth quarter. They lead it 7-4 over the BC Lions. We'll be back with the final quarter in just a moment. Back at Taylor Field in Regina, Glenn Jackson left the ball game earlier with a knee injury. Now Bernie Gleer being helped from the field following this play.
Melvin Bird, number 10, making that contact coming from Jordan's backside, and then Gleer, it would appear, coming in late, number 7, right here at the middle of your screen. Got injured by one of his own players, I believe.
To start the fourth quarter, Dave Badowitz, end-over-end kick, bounces right past Billy McBride and out of bounds at the 18-yard line.
Now, where's Gaynor going there?
So the BC Lions take over now with Tim Cowan at quarterback, and they have the ball at their own 18.
Clear looks like he's up and around, at least on that BC Lion bench. 101 yards of total offense by the Riders. We're into the fourth quarter, and it certainly has been a defensive struggle.
Dennis knocks it away. Pass intended for Bradley. Dennis had an interception in the second quarter off Pow.
Well, if he'd got one more hand up, that'd have been 6 points for the Riders.
There was nobody between him and the goal line. He is the veteran, to say the least, defensively for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Number 25, Steve Dennis, out of Grambling. 3 interceptions on the year now. Second down and 10 from the 18. Cowan under pressure again, and Vince Goldsmith has his second sack against the young quarterback.
Well, Goldsmith doesn't get in on the young quarterback quite as quickly this time, but nevertheless, he beat some pretty good blockers, John Henry White and Ray Strong, to get in there and sack the young quarterback. He's getting quite an introduction to the head sack man of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, is he not?
2 of them today for Goldsmith, gives him 19.5 sacks on the season. Saglia getting ready for his 10th punt of the afternoon. Riders should end up with pretty good field position, and Saglia booms this one. Pierce at his own 38-yard line. And the BC Lions are downfield quickly to put the stop on him right at the Saskatchewan 45. With the score, Saskatchewan leading BC 7-4. We'll be back in just a moment. Jana, 13.5 minutes remaining in the ball game. That was a 50-yard punt by Pasaglia. Riders at their own 45-yard line. 1st and 10. Jordan. Mike Washington dropped the football.
One dribble.
You know, Dale, that type of play has been used more in 1983 than it has been for years, that inside or middle screen, and it seems that it's been open almost every time. Washington, of course, just wanted to run with the football a little bit too quick, but it's been a good play. A bit of a misdirection play with Jordan rolling out to his left and hitting that middle screen over the center there.
2nd down and 10. Christopher France is open, takes the football out of bounds with him at about the 53.5-yard line. He'll be short of the 1st down. He just couldn't stop his momentum from carrying him out of bounds.
It looks like Tim Pierce is trying to pick off Melvin Bird. They do have a bit of a traffic jam there. Of course, we wouldn't suggest that that's a planned play. Would we, Dale? 9-yard pickup, and the Riders will gamble.
Short yardage situation now, 3rd down. Riders haven't been noted for having a great short yardage team. Homer Jordan keeps it himself this time, and looks like he's got the 1st down. Just across midfield.
Pretty good surge by Bob Poley, the offensive center, 57, right in the middle of your screen, and his cohorts.
Any chance next weekend when we go out there for that Ottawa game, we'll go to Rigney's?
Absolutely, Dale. The beautiful new lounge in the Georgian Court Hotel right across the street from the stadium is open this week.
I mean, every time we go out to Vancouver, we go to Rigney's, but this is going to be different, right? Out of bounds pass for Christopher France.
That's right, because this week, everybody's welcome.
Second down and 10 facing the Riders. Jordan overthrowing Christopher France along the sideline. 12 minutes remaining in the ball game. France, the intended receiver, and again, Homer Jordan was throwing the football a bit high for him, and it'll bring up 3rd down.
3rd and 10.
So the two teams content to punt the ball back and forth here in the second half. We've had 20 punts so far. Number 21 coming up. Ride leaves it for Crawford. Crawford to the 22-23-yard line, bounced out of bounds by Eddie Lowe and others. 42-yard punt and a return of 10. 11:21 left to go in the ball game. 7-4, Saskatchewan leading BC. Riders looking for only their 4th victory of the 1983 season.
That makes it even more incredible, the fan support that they get here at Taylor Fieldale. They've had a fantastic year once again, attendance-wise.
They're, of course, down from last year, but last year, you must remember, they had 103% capacity for the season. Tim Cowan in trouble, shovels the pass ahead for Ray Strong, incomplete pass.
The call was incomplete, and I think it was an excellent call by the officials, as Cowan did have a receiver downfield. It was Ray Strong, 34, right in the middle of your screen right now. Cowan again running for his life back there as Saskatchewan has pressured him. Tries to dump it off to Strong, but just could not do so.
2nd down and 10 from the 22. Looking for Pankratz. Really wasn't close, so it's 3rd down. Cowan heads off. Pasaglia is in to kick once more. 10.5 minutes to go. Beautiful kick by Pasaglia.
That won't hurt his average.
Back in the end zone is Fran McDermott, and he'll give up the single point. Pasaglia got it that time, everything he had, into a 92-yard punt for a single. 7-5 is the score. The Riders over the Lions, and we'll be back in just a moment. Member of the Saskatchewan Roughrider cheerleaders, the Golden Girls, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders with the football again. First down from their own 35, following a 92-yard punt for a single by Lou Pasaglia. Certainly boost his average here this afternoon. Jordan completes it to Chris DeFrance for a gain of about 4 yards. Konar and Crawford were there for the Lions defensively. 2nd down and 6.
Good for 4.
Seems that Konar is everywhere on that field today, Dale. He's picked off an interception. He's gone to the outside, to the inside. When they do have a completion, Kevin is right there. He's had a great afternoon. Certainly going to consider my vote for him as a Carlin O'Keefe game star at the end of this contest. Stay tuned and see who we pick on both sides of the ball.
Andre Jones is in there defensively along with Cruz and Konar because of the injuries to Glear and Jackson. Dwight Edwards, the intended receiver, double coverage way downfield. And the 3rd down for Saskatchewan.
Covering on the play, Kerry Parker.
Once again, quite a high throw. It looks like Edwards pushed off against Nelson Martin. Nelson Martin, by the way, number 4, the safety of the BC Lions, in Don Matthews' opinion, has probably improved as much as anybody on his ball club. He's just come a long, long way from early in the season.
So we'll get another look at Dave Badowitz punting. And he gets it the other way. We're getting a lot of practice this afternoon. This is Crawford from the 20. And he gets that off to about the 26-yard line. Good punt from Dave Badowitz that time, 51 yards. Riders lead the Lions 7-5. We'll be back at Taylor Field in just a moment.
That once in a while.
BC Lions first down, their own 26.5. Ray Strong takes the handoff from quarterback Tim Cowan, and he has a gain of a couple on the play. 8:35 remaining in the ball game, and it's a 7-5 thriller at Taylor Field. Saskatchewan leading BC.
Yeah, you've got to lean over to our head statistician, Bob Lees. No, I don't think the BC Lions have even had a first down in this quarter, have they? One or two in the entire second half?
I'd just like to say it's nice to have Bob back with the crew after his little jaunt to Costa Rica here a week ago. And
sorry, Bob, did you have to put up with that kind of duty?
Pankratz, the intended receiver, incomplete pass.
The ineptitude continues here at Taylor Field with 8:04 remaining.
Get ready for another punt, folks. Here we go.
Let's don't forget, this is the first-place finishers in the Western Division of the Canadian Football League, playing against a defense that is dangerously close to having been scored on more points than anybody in the history of the Canadian Football League, and it's a 7-5 ball game.
Riders have allowed 513 points against this year. The record is 567. Also set by a Saskatchewan team back in 1959 when they were 1-15 that year. Saglia's punt to Fran McDermott. Almost found the opening to break it. Ryan Potter, number 33, was there to make the stop on him at the 45-yard line. That punt was 49 yards for Saglia and a return of 12.
Yeah, you know, I think it'd be kind of appropriate if this ball game was broken up by a punt return. They certainly have had their opportunities to return them.
Well, that last one, Frank, of Pasaglia's must have given him a tremendous average for the day again.
He's well over 50 again, and that's where we'll be next week. The Ottawa Roughriders visiting BC Place Stadium, and the Eastern crew will be doing the Hamilton Ticat at Montreal game. Pat Marsden, Lee Pedersen, and Bill Stevenson bringing that one to you.
Mike Washington gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about all. Billy McBride moved up from the corner and almost threw him for a loss on the play, but tripped him up anyway. It's second down and 10. Injured ball player is Greg Feger down on one knee. It looks like he may have equipment troubles, something wrong with his helmet rather than a serious injury. And so he'll be replaced for one play at least by Ray Elgard, number 72. Seven minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Riders looking at second down and 10 from their own 45. Jordan in trouble, finds Kearse, and he's just unable to hang on to it.
Okay, Dale, I want to state right now with 6:44 remaining that when we come to vote for the Carling Game Stars, offensively, I abstain.
Got to do something, Frank. Got to name somebody. Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Something great will happen in the last 6.5 minutes. Unload one to the 10-yard line. Here's McBride on the return. Being a former Rider, he'd like a big one. He gets out to the 29-yard line. And that was a 55-yard punt by Badowich. Badowich has punted 13 times this afternoon. Pasaglia has punted 12 times. Oh, that's right. Stu Fraser also punted once this afternoon, didn't he?
That was a big one, too. But Lou surpassed that with his 90-yard single just moments ago, the only score that the Lions have been able to come up with in the second half of this ball game.
Wow, passes like that is why we're into a 7-5 ball game. Second down and 10 facing the Lions.
This really is a pathetic offensive display by both of these ball clubs.
In all due respect to Tim Cowan, gentlemen, I don't think Roy DeWalt is worrying about his job too much over there.
Roy DeWalt is here, standing on the sidelines, not in uniform. Getting a well-deserved rest. Head coach Don Matthews. But he'll be back as starting quarterback when the Lions close out their season next Saturday night against Ottawa. Bradley had the ball in his arms, and then it came loose just as he took the hit from Kenny Hinton. So it's third down.
Well, I don't know who will be the starting quarterback next week for the Ottawa Roughriders deal. Maybe it'll be Prince McJunkin, who we saw take off with the football quite a few times in their last outing. He looks like a pretty exciting runner. I can assure fans at Vancouver and BC Place that we'll have a much more exciting football game for them next week than what is happening here this afternoon.
Tim Kearse on the return. 4-yard line. 51-yard punt by Pasaglia and a 13-yard return.
By Kevin Konar.
5 minutes, 13 seconds left. Roy DeWalt. Talking with the rookie quarterback, Tim Cowan.
44.
The Saskatchewan fans really hanging in there. They're savoring this one. It looks like they're going to get a victory here in the last game of the season at home.
Lots of time for Homer Jordan. Nobody open. He's a good runner. He's got a first down and more.
All right.
Got some excitement now as Homer Jordan goes to the 46-yard line of BC.
It doesn't take much. These fans will get up and cheer. Me too. Way to go, Homer.
21-yard gain for Homer Jordan.
Get something happening there. Winds up getting around a former teammate of his, Ron Cherkis, number 66. Cuts back inside of Ty Cruz and does a good job of picking up that first down to the 45-yard line.
Cherkis is a guy who's been around a lot this year. Talk about him. Mike Washington, pitch from Homer Jordan. And he gets forced out of bounds at about the 40-yard line, so he's got a gain of close to 6 yards. Cherkis attended the Rider training camp. As you look at Washington's run again, got traded to BC. Then he ended up going to Montreal. Looked like a bit of a face mask against Washington there.
Well, Washington, I think, got his hand up in front of his headgear before Ty Cruz could get to him. It's a good run.
Complete the Cherkis story. He ended up going from Montreal back to Winnipeg and then back to BC. So a lot of traveling in one football season. Second down. Jordan looking for Nate Johnson. Pass was thrown a little bit short and the feet went out from underneath him. And we're going to get a field goal try here.
All
away
right.
from the fence. All right, that's good.
On the road again.
Three and a half minutes remaining in the ball game, and Dave Ridgway will try a 47-yard field goal. The only scoring we've had here in the second half is a 92-yard single on a punt by Louis Pasaglia. Riders led 7-4 at halftime. Touchdown by Nate Johnson. The biggest play of the day, a 56-yard scoring play and a pass from Homer Jordan. Fraser holds for Dave Ridgway. It's got the distance. It is good. Riders have now doubled the score on the BC Lions. 10-5 with 3:10 remaining. And the Riders will kick off. For Reuben Berry, he has to be pleased with the fact that the Saskatchewan Roughriders have held the BC Lions to just 5 points today. You see the Flame has been totally inactive this afternoon, outside of that one big play to Nate Johnson. And this being the final home game of the season for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I'm sure the Flame was all set for a big afternoon here at Taylor Field. blocker is Al Wilson. Number 52, the ball went right at him. He just knocked it down, was recovered by another Lion, and it's kicked down for BC at their own 46. Swafford, number 63, was the man who got to the football for BC.
From the 46-yard line.
3:06 remaining in the ball game. The score is 10-5 in favor of Saskatchewan. We'll be back in just a moment. The Golden Girls putting on their show with 3:06 remaining in the football game. Saskatchewan leading BC 10-5. Riders closing out their home schedule here this afternoon. It's been a long season for the Saskatchewan Roughriders and their fans. If they should hang on and win this one, it would only be their 4th victory of the season. They had high hopes coming into 1983, but things just didn't work out that way. First down for the BC Lions at their own 46-yard line. Quarterback Tim Cowan replacing Joe Pau, and he overshoots the intended receiver Mervyn Fernandez. Just as well he did, because Kenny Hinton was right there with Fernandez.